Welcome, I'm Dr. Warren and you're watching The Plant Doctor. What we're doing today, I have some Nikko Blue Hydrangeas here that have died back to the crown. In my area here, mainly 7B, we're on the line between 7B and 8A. A normal winter, these will come back from the stems. We have a really hard winter like we had this past winter in December of 22. We had a flash freeze. We went from 54 degrees to 8 degrees in 3 hours, which is extremely rare for our area. These died all the way back to the ground. I can tell that this Nikko Blue Hydrangea is going to come back. There's some vegetation coming back from the root. But what's happened here, this is actually two Nikko Blue Hydrangeas. There was originally one hydrangea here, and one of the limbs touched the ground and rooted, and over the course of a few years became a second plant. So what I'm going to do, that second plant that came up, I am going to transplant that. So I'm going to show you how to renewal prune Nikko Blue Hydrangea, and then how to transplant a Nikko Blue Hydrangea. Any of your macrophylla hydrangeas, so this is Hydrangea macrophylla Nikko Blue, you can do this with. I would be hesitant to do hard renewal pruning on some other hydrangeas this time of year. It is March where I'm at right now, so things like Oakleaf hydrangea, limelight hydrangea, they've already leafed out. I would not do that this time of year. If you're looking to renewal prune those hydrangeas, I have a video on how to prune limelight. I'll try to leave it up here in the description, but typically you want to do that in like November, December, January time frame. But with these macrophyllas, I wanted to see if they would die all the way back to the ground. I thought they might. They did. And so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go in and renewal prune and transplant these. So basically you need a couple tools for the job. I'm going to use a pair of loppers. You could get away with some hand snips here, but some of these branches are thick, and basically we just want to go in to these main branches down here at the base, and we're just going to cut all these out. So I'm going to go ahead, start here. I'm going to put the film in fast motion so you're not sitting here watching me prune for 2 or 3 minutes, but you'll get the idea here when I'm done. So we're left with something that looks like this. So here's the parent plant, the original plant, and then over here, this is the one we're going to transplant. We actually took a fair amount of material off of both of those. You can see here it's a pretty decent pile of stems that we got. So let's look at how we're going to transplant this. So the tools for the job when you're going to transplant a hydrangea is you need a sturdy shovel. This is a transplant shovel. I don't know if you need something quite this industrious for a hydrangea, but I'm going to use it because I have it. A good, sturdy, regular garden shovel would probably do. And then you need a method of transport. I'm going to use a wheelbarrow. I've got it just off my left hand side here. If you have a pickup truck, you throw it on the back of the tailgate, anything like that. In general, when we look at transplanting a plant, I want more root mass than I do vegetative mass. So my root to vegetation ratio, my roots need to be greater than my vegetation. So in general, anytime you transplant something, it's a good idea to prune it back really hard, because you don't need as much roots to sustain that vegetative material. So I'm just going to go in here and really all I'm trying to do is get a decent sized root ball. I want my root ball a little bit wider than the canopy that I currently have on this, which is maybe a foot. It's not that big at all. And hydrangeas tend to come up fairly easy. This is one of the easier plants that we can transplant in terms of popping them out of the ground when they're pruned back like this. You know what would be really bad if I hit my elbow on this brick, I would skin my elbow up. I'm trying to be careful here. I really need to get in on the back side, but the wall's in the way. There it goes. It's almost up. Here again, we got a root on the back side. Right, there it is. Now I don't want to pull or carry this just by the stem. So what you want to do, take your shovel and go underneath the roots, or if you don't mind getting your hands dirty, or if you got a nice pair of gloves, always hold it underneath by the root ball. So you can see there, that's some decent root structure for that volume of vegetative material. So let's go plant it. So this is the area we're going to transplant our Nikko Blue Hydrangea to. We actually have a Nikko Blue right here beside us. I'm going to come in once we're done filming and prune this one back as well. But this gets a lot of shade, an area that a Nikko Blue is going to do well in. We get morning sun. The sun comes up behind the camera, and then in the afternoon it goes behind the house here. But really, it's pretty simple. All I'm looking to do, I'm going to rake back this pine straw, and I'm going to more or less center it up between this Nikko Blue, and I'm not sure if it shows up on the screen or not, but I've got a Foster holly here on the side of the house. I'm going to put it more or less right in the middle between the two. Okay, now that our hole's dug, here again, grab your plant by the bottom of the root and get as many of those roots down in that hole as you can. So you want the crown of the hydrangea to be just above the ground a little bit. I'm going to bust up some of these dirt clods, pack it in around this root ball. I'll come back in after I'm done planting and I'll water it in. Not that it needs water, this ground is soggy already, but what water does, it helps to settle these dirt clods that bust them up. And so what you can do is just fill in with soil. So now the only thing left to do is clean up. We're going to take our limbs, put it by the road. I'm going to get some pine straw around this hydrangea, backfill the hole this came from, put pine straw on top of that, and we're done. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor. And until next time, happy gardening.